So can you really finish a Space Marine in 1 hour? Well, I'm going to show you the pro techniques to be quick, efficient, and most importantly, add in those finishing touches that make your models hop on the tabletop. 1 hour starting now. If any of you have watched my videos before, Drakenhof Nightshade for an Ultramarine is like a cheat code. So we're just going to prep our brush in a little bit of water, just ensuring that it's not going to be soaking up too heavily deep into the ferrule. And we are going to go pretty aggressively with this. We want to be able to really pull out the depth in the sculpts here. And we're not doing this with an airbrush. All of this is done with a paintbrush. That way, it's the most accessible thing to the vastest majority of people. Not to say that it's not an important tool. It is an important tool. But at the end of the day, if you can't then go over your highlights because your brush technique is just not quite down yet, you lose out a lot of what makes the miniature special anyway. So it's really, really, really important. Work on your brushwork, work on your accuracy, work on working with thin paints, all this kind of good stuff that gives you the final results that you actually want and need. If any of you watched the recent Gazskull painted in 12 hours video, which is right here, that was in 30 degrees Celsius temperature inside this room. It was boiling hot. Today we are treated to a mere 25 degrees Celsius. So now our Drakenhof Nightshade is finished. We're going to go straight on to basing because this is going to take the longest amount of time to dry. We do have our miniature in a little holder. Please, if you can, go to your local friendly game stores. See if you can find these old style ones with the extendable out sections rather than the new ones that are sort of like clip in, but it's with force. They're not as good. If you find these, they're brilliant. We've also got some Armageddon dust. We're going to apply that to the base now. So don't worry about being extra neat with this step. The most important thing is just getting a nice thin layer of this basically textured paint. The end result is like a base that looks like a sandy dune. There we go. You see, you've got a nice texture to that. We're just going to dab in there like so, and you're just creating little high points. And again, depending on how you paint this, you could almost gloss it up and make it like it's a boggy field, or the options are literally endless with that. It's a really useful texture. I highly recommend them. We have currently got 50 minutes left, so we're going to keep on being nice and hasty. We're now going to go on to painting weapons black, whilst we've got a chance to get some contrast on bits that haven't had any shading, because they're going to take a little longer to dry, and we kind of need to stay ahead of the curve with this for us to truly be able to complete this challenge. Now, I'm going to use Black Legion Contrast. Sometimes Black Legion Contrast does leave the edges as like the blue. We're going to go over every metallic part as well, and the idea being is that even if you don't have time to get those bits done, you can go back to them and quickly dry brush over some silver and it's not a problem. We're just obviously looking for expediency right now. I think it's fair enough to say as well, if you were doing this challenge, it's a little bit more stressful than taking your time and painting a miniature normally, but equally, you don't have to run to exactly an hour like I am. This is supposed to be, after all, a very fun challenge. You're supposed to be able to get through these miniatures, but also have a lot of fun painting them. That's almost the most important thing. Now we have got his weapon just painted up there. We're going to do the little metallic bits that he's going to have on his power pack. And I personally like to do the little balls either side of his power pack. Giggity. I like to do those in black, but also you can paint the bases of them, the very bottom bit, in silver with the vent. I find that sometimes a bit useful just to make them stand out a little bit more. Okay, so we've only actually spent 17 minutes so far painting it. He's blue, he's got nice shading to him, his weapons are black. We're now going to go on to some gold trim because that's going to pop out more. So once the gold trim's done, I'm going to show you my little cheaty technique to make the gold absolutely pop, look incredible, without spending anything. It's not a shade, it's a contrast. So now we're going to go straight on to Retributor Gold. That is the finest gold. If you're doing things like Ultramarines, Blood Angels, it tends to be really good with. You can also highlight this with Liberator Gold going forward. In this case, I don't think we're going to have time, but that's okay because the little cheat step that we're going to do is going to leave us lots of contrast and lots of depth. We want this to go on not so thick that it removes any details, but thick enough that we can try and apply it in one coat. Don't worry if it's a little patchy. You will be amazed just how much work the contrast is going to do to make this stand out. Flesh tones as well. Now, a lot of you are going to be wondering, how am I going to paint flesh in such a short period of time? Because we have a unit with hair, there's two techniques to this. You can go for a base of fulgrim pink. It leaves a very tan tone when you apply the contrast. Or you can apply something like a white scar. We're going to apply Wraithbone, my least favourite GW colour, because it constantly splits and it's a bit when you apply it. If you know a good replacement for Wraithbone, let me know. Now, as per usual, I am finding that Wraithbone is requiring about 2 layers. It's a little bit frustrating with it, but it goes on a bit patchy. It's not the best paint. Just take your time with it. So now that we've done that, we're going to go into our initial highlights, and we need a highlight that can kind of do a mid and a high all in one. So the colour that we are going to go for is Rust Grey. It's a useful colour. It's not too bright. It's not too dark. Now, because we are working to a time limit, I don't expect you to highlight every single piece of this miniature. In fact, I think that would be silly to do because time is of the essence. So we're going to take our small brush, but feel free to use your extra small brush, and we're just going to try and run our line across it. So we have our wet palette. If you have a wet palette, this gets you way ahead of the game. You want to thin these paints down a little bit, so you just want to take your brush, distill it a little bit in the water of the wet palette, and that way when we apply it, it goes on quite easily, it releases quickly, and we are aiming for all of the low-hanging fruit, essentially, the easy to paint highlights. So we're talking shoulder trims, we're talking trims of power packs. Can we do more? 100% we can. Do we have time to do more? Maybe. As we go on, we might have. Now, you're going to see here, I've also brought the light in. I need really good lighting for this. Make sure that you've got really good lighting. Buy whatever you need that helps get you a better resolution with your eyes so that you can see these parts. They are small. Now, we are literally hitting the upper highlights of these pieces. Going on a little bit thicker on this little section that is okay. I'm not going to worry about it too much. We're just trying to get little lines in there just so that we can give this miniature a little bit of definition. Again, when you see the miniature at the end of this, you're looking at it fairly close up. You can zoom in, all this kind of stuff. You'll see flaws in it, and don't worry about if you see flaws in your miniatures. The internet is the kind of place where we can see the very best of everything. You can see the best painters. As good as they are, don't feel like you have to judge your miniatures next to theirs. You judge yourself based on how you progress personally. Otherwise, you take away all the joy that you get from this really fun hobby. So have lots of fun, enjoy it. Hopefully you are all enjoying this video. If you are, please hit the like and subscribe to our channel. We're doing lots of videos like this, and we're on our road to monetization. So you can help us get to monetization, help this channel grow, and that way we can release more videos like this for you. You can see how sweaty it is. Even at like 26, 25 degrees Celsius, it's still quite warm in here. The paint is drying nicely. The texture hasn't quite dried yet. It's had about 20 minutes. It's not quite done yet. I can still see it's drying, but it is getting there. I just want you all to know it's perfectly acceptable. Take your time with your highlights. This is going to be where your miniature pops and stands out from the rest. So don't feel like this is where you have to, sprint through. Take your time at this stage. Enjoy the process. Like, highlighting is some of the most challenging and most fun, certainly the most rewarding, painting your miniature. The results from this definitely make your miniature stand out from everyone else's. So again, my advice, thin paint, thin brushes, get yourself a nice steady hand and light pressure at a 45-degree angle. That gets you the edge of the blade rather than the tip of the brush, and that's going to just leave a little tiny bit on. It's a great technique, it works, it's tried and tested. If you do have a spare rubbish paintbrush, whack that in your brush water, and whenever you make a mistake, it's there, it's loaded, go in, wash it off quickly. That'll save you a lot of headache. I'm just going to share now the highlights that we have done to this miniature so far. We have spent about 20 minutes doing highlights. You can see some of my highlights are a bit chunkier than they should be. Some of them are nice and thin. It doesn't really matter too much. And again, with rust grey, it's a little bit of a highlights everything kind of colour. Oh, God, sweat in the eyes. Do not get sweat in your eyes. Don't record so that you can have a fan blowing at full speed at you. Okay, so we're now starting to come to the end of these highlights. Certainly a point where I now need to start focusing on other parts. So we're going to stop there. For his helmet lenses, I'm just going to apply in some corn red. The reason why I'm not applying more is with this, he's not got his helmet on. When you've not got your helmet on, I think the lenses are deactivated or none of the sensors are going off. That'll do it. There we go. All of his little studs done. Right. We do have some silver detail that we're going to go into. I'm just going to apply my second layer of wraith bone now. So again, I think that's super important. We get one flat layer just so that we can basically apply this contrast with the best chance possible of making it look as good as is possible. So now we're just going to quickly go on with some lead belcher onto all metal components. Don't have to be neat about this. Don't worry about making it look absolutely incredible. Don't dry brush it on or anything like that. We're going to go over it with Null Oil. When it comes to his bolter, you want to be nice and tidy over where you've got the exhaust ports for the shot, or the flash hider, whatever you want to call it. Although I don't know why they're trying to hide muzzle flashes when they're 8-foot tall towering behemoths and they're painted in all kinds of wacky colours. If any of you have 1,000 miniatures that you still need to paint, then these challenges are genuinely, for everyone, a really useful technique to motivate yourself to get painting. If you want to see one of my slightly older videos about motivating yourself to paint and what rewards you should give yourself, have a check up here as well. Now, I promised you the cheat code of all cheat codes. So what we're going to use to transform our gold and our flesh tones into something that pops without doing any effort is Dark Oath Flesh. This is a brilliant colour. I highly recommend it in everyone's collections. It's going to do everything that we need. It's going to create a really worn gold, which I think Space Marine should have. Their armors are supposed to be ancient. Now, the flesh tone, we're going to apply it on relatively thick, maybe on top of a bit of water already loaded into the brush so it can pool around a little bit nicer. For the hair, we're actually going to use it is Arrtx Dunes. Really useful colour. If ever you need a quick blonde, that is your colour for it. As with all contrasts, make sure you matte varnish on top of them because they do tend to wear off with touching it by hand. Okay, now we've got those details done, it's on to the final piece, which is his shoulder. So this is Decal Fix, this is Humbrol. It doesn't really matter as much. Basically, this is just going to soften up the decal that we're going to apply. So we just leave that to it. It's going to go soft, try not to touch it. And then once it's all dried, apply a matte varnish onto it and it will give you that painted on look. So we're just going to apply on a layer of Cabalite green, and we're going to highlight that with, is it Warpstone green? Yeah, we're going to highlight that with Warpstone green. We have 5.5 minutes left, which is not the most amount of time, but I still feel very confident we can get this done to a very high degree. Once we're here, we've done Warpstone Glow. We're then going to go to Moot Green, super quick. This is a really bright green, but when you apply this on top of that Warpstone Glow, you're just going to get this pop like nothing else. it's worth it, he says, with 1 minute left and not really 1 minute's worth of time. Really messy on that. And I messed about with my decal a bit too much. That's okay, we'll just have a little bit of water under there, and then we can shift that about again. And that must have been time. 1 second. Timer. There we go. All in all, I'm actually really, really happy with how his miniatures come across. He's looking mint. But enough of me waffling. It's time for the big reveal. So after quite a lot of sweat and tears, I can happily say 1 hour is definitely enough time to at least make some serious headway in your miniature. Because of the decal flaking off, I didn't have time to do the Steel Legion drab on the base. That would have been a very hasty minute, and it would have probably come off with me just moving around that miniature. But that aside, that miniature is looking perfectly good enough for the tabletop. I put him on, he's going to look fantastic. It only took me an hour. Is there more I can do with him? Absolutely. I can go to town, I can put some more heraldry, I can put like a squad symbol on his knee pad. There's so many things that I could do with his mini now. But for 1 hour's worth of work, I want you all to take note. 1 hour times by 10. So in 10 hours, you can have 10 beautifully painted miniatures, which is a heck of a lot better than the 10 assault intercessors that I painted in 12 hours. Feel free to check out that video next as well. It's for an eye-opener of how quickly you can build and paint miniatures. Now, I would like to thank you all for watching, and I want to thank my Patreons as well. Now, if you want to join our exclusive Discord, as well as have an additional free entry into our monthly giveaways, then head down to the link down below and become a paid-up member. It will make the world of difference to this channel's growth. It certainly helps support me massively, and I will highly appreciate it. You'll also get your name in the credits, like this. So, thank you to my Patreons, and thank you to all of you at home for watching. Tell me what you want to see down below. Remember, do you want to see a 10-man assault intercessor squad get painted in 12 hours? Well, there you go. And I'll see you all in the next video. Goodbye for now.